The coping on a vinyl liner swimming pool is different than the coping on a concrete swimming pool, so that can be a point of confusion for some people. On a concrete pool, the coping is more or less the deck surface that sits directly over top of the pool wall. Now, in a vinyl liner swimming pool, the coping is actually the track that's used to retain the bead on the liner, and it's basically what holds the liner in place in the swimming pool. So to understand the different styles that you can have, I've got two examples here. So let's say that you were going to go with a natural stone deck, or pieces of stone, or pre-manufactured slabs of any kind, anything other than something that you're going to pour into place, like concrete, for example. So what you would use is you would use a style of coping that would go, so this cardboard box we've got here is going to represent, this is the face of the wall of your swimming pool. This is the top of the wall in your swimming pool. So this first style of coping would attach onto the wall, and you would attach with Tek screws through the coping, and you should put them about every 6 inches to every 8 inches. A lot of people shortcut that and put them every 1 foot, 2 feet, or 3 feet, and that's simply not enough. The coping will tear off the wall eventually, and that's something that you're going to be looking for if you have this style of coping. If you have this style of coping on the pool that you're inspecting, ultimately what will happen is the weight of the liner pulling on the coping will tear it off of the wall. So that's what you're checking for, to see if that coping is loose or has it started to tear away from the wall at all. And again, this is the style of coping that you would see most commonly if there was like a natural stone deck or something like that, where there would be pieces of stone that come out and cantilever over the top edge here. Now, supposing that's not the style of coping that you're looking at, if you have, for example, a poured concrete deck, you probably are looking at something like that's called bullnose coping. So this is, in this situation, now I'll show the example here. This style of coping sits on top of the pool wall. Instead of being mounted to the face of it, it actually sits right on top. So the finished deck elevation in the pool would be higher with the coping that I'm showing here as an example. Now this one that I'm holding is actually a low profile. Often you'll see this a lot taller, 3 or 4 inches taller. This one's only 2 3/4 inches taller to accommodate for different thicknesses of deck and for meeting different elevation grades. And these are especially useful for renovation projects. But again, so if you're looking at this type of coping, there's something very specific that you're looking for. With this deck integrated coping, which is what this is, because the concrete is going to get poured right into this with a deck integrated coping. If this pool is experiencing a failure, a deck integrated coping failure, where the deck around the pool has broken, let's say there's a big crack in the concrete, well, the crack in the concrete is going to be much stronger than the strength of this coping, and this coping will fail when that crack reaches this. And in a worst case scenario, the deck starts to migrate. If the deck starts to migrate, that just simply means that it's moving. If it starts to move away from the swimming pool, it's going to take the coping with it, because the coping has no choice but to go with it. And since the liner's attached to the coping, well, then the liner's going to go with the deck as well. And ultimately what you have here is a failure of the swimming pool, such that the coping's going to need to be replaced. But to properly fix a deck integrated coping failure, you need to remove the deck surface, then remove the coping, then remove the liner, and then put all 3 of those items back in place. And it's a very costly job, and that's why you're specifically looking to see, is this coping failing, and is it deck integrated? Because if it is, you need to budget a lot for that, because in all likelihood that deck is going to need to come out to fix this properly. Now I'll just mention this since we're on the subject of it anyway. In the event that you encounter this with your pool and you're trying to solve this without tearing out the deck, which would be obviously ideal because that's a huge cost component, if you have this style here, you could actually mount the second style just below it. And if you do that, I mean, basically what you can get away with is you can mount something that's going to mount to the pool wall, not to the deck, which has now failed in moving and breaking the old coping, and the new liner doesn't get installed in this top coping track. It would get installed in the new coping track that you mounted just below the other one. So that's a good way to inspect vinyl liner pool coping, and also a good workaround for if you ever encounter a situation where you have a deck integrated coping failure and you're trying to find a more cost-effective solution to remedy this problem than just repairing or replacing the entire deck coping and liner for your swimming pool.